I love taking care of things. And that's why I think this has been so hard, because we have not been able to embrace and to touch and to, give a big kiss on the side of the cheek. And when that's a part of who you are, that makes it that much more difficult.
Right now at 5:30, participating in a COVID-19 vaccine trial. Why I joined tens of thousands of people around the world in getting a potential vaccine. For the next 30 minutes, I'll share with you what I learned and how I felt after each shot.
Straight from the heart of East Tennessee, this is 10 News at 5.
Today, a government advisory panel is meeting to decide whether to endorse the emergency use of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine. The goal of the meeting is to decide whether the vaccine is safe and effective to be cleared for emergency use. And depending on how fast the FDA signs off on the panel's recommendation, shots could begin within days. Now, later this month, the FDA is expected to pass judgment on another vaccine, this one developed by Moderna and the National Institutes of Health. That shot has proven to be just as effective as Pfizer's. Vaccine candidates by Johnson & Johnson and AstraZeneca are also in the works. Tennessee says it will receive about 57,000 doses of the Pfizer vaccine. State leaders say those doses should arrive in 11 Tennessee counties by next week. Hospitals in both Knox and Blount counties are set to receive the vaccine. High-exposure healthcare workers, people in nursing homes, and first responders will be the first in the state to be injected with the vaccine. Now, there are about 450,000 people in this first wave of vaccinations in Tennessee. For the last 9 months, certainly not a day has gone by that we have not reported on the coronavirus. The updates are critical to ensure that we can all make personal decisions to help our community weather this pandemic. Right now, dozens of human clinical trials are still underway on potential vaccines that could prevent the virus and, more importantly, save lives. Tens of thousands of people, once again, around the world are taking part in these studies, and I'm one of them. Vaccines offer hope, and pharmaceutical companies are racing to find a dose that could protect us from COVID-19. And that is why I volunteered to help with this effort. With the help of photojournalist Brian Holt and digital storyteller Elizabeth Sims, we show you what it's like to go from answering dozens of questions to rolling up my sleeve for an experimental shot.
The path to a successful COVID-19 vaccine could begin at this hospital.
Just peel those and stick them on you. Thank you.
Left. Behind this door could be the key to ending the coronavirus pandemic. Volunteer Research Group is conducting several human clinical trials for COVID-19 vaccines. Pharmaceutical companies are testing vaccines here on healthy patients. I'm volunteering for the study headed up by Pfizer. The drug company is recruiting up to 44,000 people around the globe to take part. In the U.S., it spans from Knoxville to St. Louis to Honolulu.
Or if you're hospitalized.
It's a stage 3 trial, which means there have already been 2 other groups injected with the vaccine. If it passes this round of tests, it could be made public. The consent form is 25 pages long. It explains the study, who qualifies, possible side effects, like pain at the injection site, fever, body aches, and chills. To find out if I even qualify for the study, I answer dozens of questions about my health. Then they send me to a room to have blood drawn.
Okay, I'm looking away. Okay, I'm good, thank you.
Now this is what I've been dreading, a COVID-19 test to see if I have the virus. I don't have symptoms, but I do have 2 kids in college. They are the so-called super spreaders of this virus, so it's possible.
This is the COVID swab, and we're going to swab both nostrils. It may make you sneeze, it may make you cough, or water you out, okay?
Okay, here we go.
She was right. It made me feel like I needed to sneeze. The test comes back negative.
Hello?
Hello.
Dr. Wendigler here. Hello?
After a quick physical, this doctor will decide whether to give me the green light to take part in the study. This gives researchers a baseline, a way to determine if anything unusual pops up after the shot.
And if you could remove your mask, please.
Absolutely.
It's crazy to say these days. Just open up for me, please. I'm just going to listen for your heart.
It's beating.
Yeah. Sit back up.
Okay.
Good deal.
Very good. Did I pass?
Yeah.
I'm given the green light to get the COVID-19 vaccination. Now, I wait. This is a double-blind study, meaning the lead researcher and I have no idea whether I'm getting the vaccine or a placebo. The pharmacist giving the shot is the only one who knows. The reason is to prevent bias when reporting side effects and other data scientists gather during the study. The experimental shot is in the cooler. It's time for my vaccination.
All right, are you ready to go?
I'm ready to do it.
Okay. Per protocol, I'm going to have you look to the right away. You ready? Okay, hang tight for me right there. Okay, you are all set.
Okay.
So we'll keep an eye on you for the next 30 minutes.
Okay. That was it. That was
That's the easy part.
it was easy. I mean, it was just like a typical shot. There was a little pinch, if you will, and a little tingly I felt as it was, going forth, but simple as that. So it's done and the journey begins. As I wait out the 30 minutes for any possible reactions to the vaccine, I'm given instructions for the next part of the study.
So this is your thermometer.
Okay.
You're going to take your temperature every night for 7 days starting tonight.
Okay.
And this is if you have any redness or swelling. This just kind of moves.
On the injection site.
And the bottom correlates with the number. We want you to put that on your diary as well.
Okay. 24 hours later, no fever, no aches, no chills, but... The one thing that I am noticing, though, this morning is that my arm where I had the injection is much more sore today than it was yesterday. Now, it's not so sore that it's going to keep me from doing my daily activities by any means, but it's not a situation where I'm going to want to go out and lift weights or anything like that.
And that was just the first shot. The trial I'm in requires 2 shots, so that meant another visit to the research site 3 weeks later. We'll get to that part of the journey a little later in this half hour. But first, we've gotten dozens of questions about what happens after you get that first shot. Up next, why a group of doctors is asking the CDC to warn people about the possible side effects. That's coming. Of course, just listening to breaking news in the race for a COVID-19 vaccine. As you heard, an FDA advisory committee is recommending an approval of the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine. The vote was 17-4, 4 against, and 1 abstaining. We will bring you updates on the story on WBIR.com and NBC Nightly News. We'll be right back.
Straight from the heart of East Tennessee, this is 10 News at 5.
Breaking news, the FDA just now giving approval, emergency approval to the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine. And Tennessee hopes to get the first of its vaccines in a matter of days. And as we learn more about the vaccines, many of you have questions. One viewer asked us, will we be told the side effects of each? Well, the FDA has what is called a vaccine information statement on vaccines given in the U.S. It lists several things, including risk of vaccine reaction. Doctors are required under federal law to give that sheet to any patient before administering a vaccine. Now, the makers of at least 2 of the COVID-19 vaccines, Pfizer and Moderna, have already publicly listed those side effects. In those trials, some people reported fever, body aches, exhaustion, and headaches. A group of doctors is asking the CDC to warn people about the side effects. Some of the COVID vaccines will require 2 shots. Doctors are worried that if people are surprised by the side effects with the first shot, they won't get the second shot, and that defeats the purpose of being vaccinated. Again, I took part in the Pfizer vaccine trial, and after my second shot, I did experience some of the side effects doctors do warn you about.
Robin, you've documented your experience through a number of stories. A lot of our viewers, though, have had some questions about your personal experience.
Yeah, it's definitely been a learning experience, so I'm happy to impart information from what I learned.
All right, let's get to some of the questions. The first one, how are you guaranteed that you wouldn't get any symptoms that would put you in the hospital?
Okay, so first off, I don't know whether I got the vaccine or the placebo. I do know the vaccine does not contain COVID-19. So if I did get the vaccine, I would not develop COVID symptoms. I was told prior that I could develop that low-grade fever, chills, etc., that I did have, but those symptoms are similar to the ones that you get maybe after a flu shot. The good news, my symptoms, they were gone in less than 24 hours.
Which leads into the next question. You had a fever after the second shot, so does that mean you were not given a placebo?
Yeah, okay, so once again, since it's a double-blind study, once again, I don't know if I got the vaccine or the placebo, but it's right, I did develop those symptoms that they warn you about as far as the vaccine goes. So I'll leave it up to you. You can draw your own conclusions. I've kind of drawn my own as well.
And when will you learn if you were actually part of the group that received the vaccine?
So I should learn when the drug company actually starts or stops the clinical trial. This is a 2-year trial. They could stop it sooner, but we were just listening on NBC Nightly News. The update, they are saying, you know, that it's likely that it could go 2 years or beyond because they want to continue to get as much information about this vaccine going forth. Beth, thank you very much. And if you have any questions about the vaccine trial, just text them to us at 865-637-1010, and we will do our best to get your questions to the experts. And if you're interested in taking part in a COVID vaccine trial, call Volunteer Research Group. The number is 865-305-DRUG. You can also find a link right now at WBIR.com.